Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your warm welcome. To my friends, Mohan Kikon, Mr. Vizo, Mr. Longkumar, Mr. Das, thank you for being part of this inauguration of the STPI and what I believe and what I hope will be a catalyst for the growth of the IT ecosystem in Nagaland in particular and the Northeast in general. Today, as Mohan said, is also our Prime Minister's birthday. And in many ways, as somebody who was tasked by him on the 7th of July, in two seemingly different responsibilities. One is electronics and information technology, and the other one, skill development and entrepreneurship. And they both seem very different. But at the underlying common thread between those two ministries is that they both target the youth of India, and their mission is to build a runway of opportunity, a runway of hope and prosperity for the youth of India. And so to that, I consider it a singular honor and privilege to be, in some sense, today fulfilling part of our Prime Minister's vision of creating a technological ecosystem in the Northeast and thereby creating opportunity for future generations of youngsters from this region. Mr. Das mentioned in his opening remarks, and he said, and I think this is a standard protocol, about thanking ministers for taking time off from their busy schedule. And this is, I've seen this happen many times. I can assure you that this is not taking time off. This is an important responsibility. I consider this a very, very important part of my responsibility of traveling around the country, seeing and interacting with the beneficiaries of our programs, seeing what we can do better, see if the outcomes that we have expected from these schemes and programs and investments are working to the effect that they should, and if they don't, can we correct them? So, as Mr. Kikon said, this is my first time out from my office in Delhi, officially, on an official trip, and I chose the Northeast for many reasons. Primarily the fact that our Honorable Prime Minister considers this an important priority. Secondly, I have some history with the Northeast, both in terms of encouraging entrepreneurship and the fact that I spent some time here when I was a child. You know, the word vision is used reasonably loosely and more so by politicians. It's a kind of an easy phrase. But I can assure you that behind the strategy that METI is rolling out and has rolled out in the last 5 years, 6 years in the Northeast, there is a method. And that is why I don't consider this visit as a visit to inaugurate. I could have done this inauguration from Delhi with today's technology. I could have just got behind a terminal and you would have been here, I would have been there, we would have exchanged some pleasantries, and I would have pressed a button and we would have inaugurated it, and that would be the end of that. But that is not the reason I am traveling through the Northeast, inaugurating the NILETs, inaugurating the STPIs. The reason is that this effort that is being put in, this investment that is being made, is aimed at creating a real change and deepening the technology ecosystem in this region and deepening the extent and quality of opportunities that come from that ecosystem. So far, for the last 6 years, there has been a two-pronged strategy. And I understand some of you are entrepreneurs and you will understand this a little better in terms of strategy and so on. The two-pronged strategy thus far has been build the capacity in terms of skills. So we have built this network of NILETs all around the Northeast, including one today in Chuchimlang. And the objective is to take the delivery of skills, delivery of knowledge, delivery of expertise closer to the communities that will use them. And That is working well today. As you can see, a large number of youngsters are getting trained in these NILETs. As a matter of fact, let me share something with you. Yesterday when I was in Manipur, I was interacting with the students and I asked the students, what do you think we can do more in NILET? And he said, young gentleman stood up and he said, no, you're doing too many short-term courses. And you're doing too many foundational courses. We want something more deeper. We want longer-term programs. Which means to me that already the appetite for learning more and aligning that learning to the opportunities that exist outside is already happening. And that in itself, in my opinion, is a big win for NILET and is making the impact that NILET was supposed to make. The second leg of that, second prong of that strategy is the STPI, the entrepreneurship part. The STPI and the seed funding part, which is you train, you get skilled, you build aspirations, you aspire to do something of your own, and the STPI is the platform where you can take those aspirations, experiment, make, some will be successful, some will fail, but you can stand up, get up again and try again, reskill, upskill. So these two strategies have been in place and have been working effectively. The STPI Kohima is part of that second prong of creating opportunities for people to now start their micro-entrepreneurship business, et cetera, et cetera. So that is the second strategy, prong of the strategy. There is a third prong of that strategy, which is what, to some extent, Mr. Kikon and Mr. Vizo referred to, which is where we are now focused on, which is the prong that brings jobs and opportunities outside of entrepreneurship. Large projects connecting the skilled talent, connecting experienced entrepreneurs to these large IT companies who have large projects. That is the third prong. And I can assure you that over the next 6 to 8 months, you will see that third prong play out. We will see, and I will explain that in a little bit more detail down the road, that we will see some new ideas and new concepts that are more relevant in the post-COVID world play itself out in the Northeast regions, and indeed many tier 2 cities that have been for many years fighting for a share of the IT prosperity and the IT opportunity. To the point that Mon made about cooperation, and I can say this because most of the METI team members are here from NIC, NILET, and STPI. I will encourage all of you to work closely with the state administration and state governments. This is just a simple common sense logic, because if you want to create the outcomes of opportunities, jobs, and talent, there is no way we can do this from Delhi. We have to work together with the state governments. And I would encourage you to monthly meet with the Ministry and Department of IT here and develop on a rolling strategy on that. And I hope, Mon, you and your department can take the initiative and invite my teammates to these monthly meetings. I would make a couple of other points here. I would encourage STPI to be not very hard-coded about with the STPI Kohima Center being only for graphics. I think it's good to have this as a center of excellence, but if there is any entrepreneur who has an entrepreneurial idea in technology, this center should be able to incubate that. So while the core focus on graphics is a good idea, but don't let that exclude other ideas who want to incubate here. This is just a piece of suggestion. I will also suggest the other thing to the state government, which is I encourage you to build a network using the STPI and NILET with the other educational institutions in the state. In my opinion, in the next 6 to 8 months, if we have to make your vision and dream of the Honorable Chief Minister and Mon yourself of creating more jobs and opportunities in Nagaland a reality, we need a much more robust and much more interconnected network of institutions at the center of which can be NILET, STPI, and other agencies. But if we can bring and organize all of the other universities and colleges as part of a larger network, it becomes easier then for the youth and the children to be aware of these programs at the college and school level and transition very smoothly at that stage itself, as opposed to being independently aware of NILIT. This is something that I saw in my travels in Manipur, that the awareness of this opportunity was limited in the schools and colleges. So that's something the state government can take care of. I will end with a slightly, give you a perspective of why all this sudden josh. Why is it that I'm coming here and saying, get trained, use the STPI? Why suddenly? Why was this not done 1 year ago? Why is this not waiting for another 1 year? And I'll explain to you why. All of us have just come out of the most horrendous 18 months of COVID. And we've all gone through our personal challenges. Our communities have gone through it. Our states, our country has gone through it. The world has gone through it. But there is an interesting development that is happening post-COVID that is very important for anybody remotely linked and associated to technology to be aware of. There is a tectonic shift in the demand for technology around the world. The pace of digitalization around the world is gone through the roof. One of the sectors in India that has come through COVID growing at double-digit rates has been IT. The IT sector in India has, in this financial year alone, between April and October, added 5 lakh new jobs. The electronics manufacturing sector has added 3 lakh new jobs, electronics manufacturing and maintenance, which is servicing and so on and so forth. I say this to you because I want to draw your attention to the fact that the global demand for technology will create a huge opportunity, has created a huge opportunity for India and Indian companies and Indian entrepreneurs. This is the Y2K moment of 2000. The digitization demand of the world means India can be and should be and will be and must be the preeminent deliverer of technology products and services to the world. And one of the key requirements of that vision becoming true is talent and people. Currently, I'll just share an anecdotal story with you that 2 of the leading IT companies in India today have gone and hired over 4,000 engineers from Canada because the shortages in India. And it is in that context that we are talking about the opportunity for the youth in the Northeast to make themselves aware of this opportunity, use the STPI, use the NILIT, and build for themselves opportunities going forward. I came here, as Mr. Kikon mentioned, I came here many years ago as part of a YouthNet invited program to talk about entrepreneurship. And I went away, I came here with no friends, I went away having made a few friends. And I went away with this firm belief that there is a strong spirit of entrepreneurship in the Northeast that needed to be catalyzed, that needed to be woken up. I think with these investments that the government of India has made, these significant opportunities that now exist in the world and in India, I think it is time for this entrepreneurship to be truly not just catalyzed, but to become something significant and alter the entire trajectory and direction of the Nagaland economy in particular and the Northeast economies in general. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you. Jai Hind.